So this is case number 214, 36-year-old male living in Surrey, UK. Again, integrity check for his guide and his higher self.
Okay, let's get connection to his guide. So, female guide stepping forward. So ask her 3 times. This is from the highest light. Yes, that passes.
Okay, higher self, we got permission now?
Okay, so higher self's providing permission. Yep.
Right, and sovereignty?
No, so that fails on the first test.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got one large negative entity connected. These are the particularly difficult ones that we've had in the past.
Right. I'll just make a note there. Tricky.
Tricky.
Is this the sort of negative spirit entity that a religious person might call a devil or a demon?
It would be, yep, yeah.
Okay, for the benefit of the client. Okay.
I'm seeing this one basically as like a scaled kind of reptilian with a very small head, but kind of large, like a large mantle on the top.
Now, if we had more time and not such a waiting list, we could investigate this further and find out where it came from. But we don't have the time to do it, unfortunately. We just need to facilitate its removal with Chen's help.
Yeah, I've just asked Chen to see if he can disconnect it for us.
Okay.
So he said if we carry on, him and his team will work on doing that.
Good. Grounding?
Okay, so there's no grounding at all. And again, there's actually a plate been put underneath this person's feet, effectively to stop him being grounded.
Okay.
So just going to clear and remove that and put grounding back in place. Okay, and it's going to bring a picture of a person up now, cut down the middle and take a look into that inner etheric. Okay, so as I do that, I can see, so I'm seeing from the kind of like top of the waist right up to the underneath the chest, basically, just like hundreds of small eggs. So this is like an incubating type.
Okay.
This entity is using his etheric to incubate its own offspring, effectively.
We find this quite common, don't we, with these big nasties?
Yeah, they don't seem to do too much damage, but they just seem to use the energy etherically to incubate their own offspring. And Chen's just saying to me whilst I'm talking to you that they've basically come to an agreement. It's going to remove all of its own offspring, these eggs, and then when it's done that, they're going to check that it's disconnected.
Well, I've got a question for Chen. What would happen, Chen, if we did not intervene and these eggs were allowed to hatch?
Just saying that this person would basically host all of those offspring for the rest of its human life. So he said that he would obviously energetically go downhill very quickly and will probably end up with some type of diagnosis with an energy disease, basically. Depleted energy.
Not a very pleasant thought, is it?
No, not ideal.
Okay then. Anything else in the inner etheric, Andy?
Okay, just taking a look around. So there's one cord connected that connects into the back of the neck. So it's going to clear and remove that. There is also a, well, again, I'm seeing like a kind of helmet type device. There is a kind of perception changer. So that would be this entity's method of communicating with its host effectively and talking to him. But imagine this person's probably been suffering from some form of kind of like either schizophrenia or paranoia, that type of thing.
As I say, the form didn't print out. So I've got no... Actually, he didn't give a medical diagnosis, but he's saying that he's had constant problems at work. Without going into any great detail.
All right, okay.
Okay, so how are we getting on with clearing his inner etheric?
Yeah, so Chen's just finishing that now. So just looking into that sort of low frequency field, again, there's a big raft of kind of wasp-like entities connected to him. So again, just parasitic feeding entities, really.
Yeah.
So I just basically visualize sort of putting a net over all of them and just pulling like a drawstring tight and then passing it to Chen to clear and remove. Just for the, to be clear from a training perspective.
Good.
Okay, so in terms of earthbound, so 2 ladies connected.
And without any further ado, can we ask if they can be released?
Okay, it's going to bring a doorway up, open it to spirit and ask them both to leave, calling forward someone that they're both happy to go with.
Now, of course, if this was a research project and we had the time, we'd investigate these ladies and ask them lots of interesting questions, but we don't have the time for that. And this is not a research project, not this particular case. So,
and also, they're very keen to go.
Oh, good. Okay. Let's wave them farewell.
Because they've already left, actually. So just close that door.
Good. Okay.
So there's no thought form connected and there's no dissociation.
Okay. So he's now spiritually healthy, is he?
So come back and do a sovereignty check again. Yeah, that passes now. So, yeah, we're all good to go.
Okay, good. So I should just give this client instructions on how to keep himself safe from psychic self-defense. And I'll end the recording there. Thank you very much, gentlemen.